Hi guys, Pastor Tang here, and today we'll be talking about the differences between Protestant and Catholic Bibles. Are there really any differences? So, when I was in elementary, I studied in a Catholic school, and during our Christian living class, our teacher wanted us to bring a Bible, and she said it should be a Catholic Bible. And when she said Catholic Bible, so we asked, how would we know if it's a Catholic Bible or not? So she said, "Oh, it's a Catholic Bible if one there's a cross there, and there's a nihil obstat and a they call that an imprimatur. Yeah, so you should look for those two things, a nihil obstat and an imprimatur. If you see those two things, then that's a Catholic Bible." Okay, so not knowing any better, so I got that Bible. I looked for one in the book from the bookstore that had those, and fortunately, we had one at home. But is that the only difference between a Catholic and a Protestant Bible? So let's see. I'm sure a lot of people are also wondering about that. And when we go to the bookstores, we would also see Bibles which say Catholic edition, right? So Catholic edition, or and like the New Pinoy version that recently came out. There's the New Pinoy version, New Testament, and we will also see some New Pinoy version New Testaments, which has this mark Catholic edition. Yeah. Also, same thing with the interlinear New Testament, Greek Tagalog interlinear New Testament. It also has the regular one, and there's also an edition which has this mark, Catholic edition. So, is there any difference? Okay. All right. First of all, before I answer that, let me just give you a brief background. Okay. So, before the time of Christ, there was this Old Testament Bible that was called the Septuagint, which was written in Greek. But we have to realize first of all, that the Old Testament of the Bible was written in Hebrew, and the New Testament was written in Greek. Now, why was the Old Testament written in Hebrew? Because the Old Testament was the actually were the Hebrew scriptures. They were the Hebrew scriptures. So the other name for the Old Testament, the Christian Old Testament, is the Hebrew scriptures. Okay, so that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, etc., etc. All right, so when the New Testament came, the apostles and their writers and their immediate disciples started writing, and these writings constituted what we know today as the New Testament. And why were they written in Greek? Because during that time, the Greek language was the universal or international language. It was the language of commerce. It was the language of the academe, just in much the same way as English is now our international or business of language. All right, so it was Greek. That's why the New Testament was written in Greek. Now we go back. Okay? The Old Testament was written in Hebrew because these were Hebrew scriptures. God revealed these things to the people of Israel, his chosen nation. That's why, of course, it was written by Jews, by Israelites, and their language was Hebrew. And there are parts of it that were in Aramaic as well, because Aramaic was one of their major dialects or languages, which is today still spoken in the nation of Syria. So, later on, when, of course, we know from history that Israel became a nation, and then as time went by, it split into two kingdoms, the northern and the southern kingdom, and then they were conquered by first the Assyrians, and then the Babylonians, and then the Persians. And the Persians, specifically King Cyrus, allowed them to go back to their land because when they were conquered by the Assyrians and the Babylonians, they were exiled. A lot of the Israelites were taken from their land and brought to Assyria and Babylon to serve the kingdoms there. But during the time of King Cyrus, after he conquered Babylon, he allowed the Israelites to return to their land and rebuild the temple and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. So after the time of the Persians, the Greeks came. Yeah, the next civilization that arose were the Greeks. And with their conquering, especially during the time of Alexander the Great, with that conquering of the entire known world came Hellenistic culture, the Greek language, Greek culture, Greek gods, Zeus, Athena, those gods that we read from Rick Riordan's books, like Percy Jackson and stuff. So, along with the Hellenistic culture came their language. So, as the Greek culture expanded, which is called Hellenism, the international language now became Greek. So, everybody in the known world had to know how to speak Greek, just like we know how to speak, most people today in the world know how to speak English. So, and there were a lot of Jews or Hebrews that were scattered in different nations who knew only how to speak in Greek, but didn't even know how to speak Hebrew anymore. So, because of that, Greek translation of the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament, was written, and that was called the Septuagint. All right. So, when Christianity came, a lot of these Christians, Greek-speaking Christians, used the Septuagint. Because we all know, of course, we do know that Christianity started in Jerusalem. It started with the Jews, and that's why uh, they used the Hebrew scriptures in spreading the doctrine Christianity. But as time went by, more and more people became Christians, especially during the dispersion. Okay, so more and more people became Christians. Even non-Jews became Christians because Christianity was open to Gentiles. And these Gentiles were Greek speaking, were Hellenistic, and there were then that also includes Hellenistic Jews. So they needed to read and use the Greek Old Testament, the Greek Hebrew scriptures, which was called the Septuagint. So the Catholic Church then, so later on, of course, as Christianity progressed and spread, and after the Greeks, who came? The Romans came. So when the Romans came, they started to spread their language. And what was the Roman language at that time? Latin. All right. So because it was now Latin, and a lot of people speak Latin, especially the educated ones, the academe and the religious elites, they needed to have the scriptures in Latin. All right. So remember, during that time, during the Roman period, after the time of Jesus Christ, during the time of the apostles, and after the time of the apostles, what we had then was the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Hebrew scriptures, and the New Testament, which was written in Greek. All right. So they're both Greek now. These were the scriptures used by the early Christians. But since Latin came along because of the Roman conquest, because of the Roman Empire, they needed to have Latin scriptures. So there was a translation made by St. Jerome known as the Latin Vulgate. So he translated the Hebrew scriptures, the Old Testament, and the New Testament into Latin. So St. Jerome used both the Hebrew scriptures and primarily the Septuagint in translating the Old Testament the to Latin, the Greek Old Testament to Latin, and the Greek New Testament into Latin. Thus came the Latin Vulgate. And the Vulgate became, then now, during that time, even today, became the official Roman Catholic version of the Bible. All right. Now, the Septuagint and later on the Vulgate included some books which were not originally included in the Hebrew scriptures. Meaning, there are certain books for the Catholic edition, it's the 7 books which Protestants call the Apocrypha or Catholics call the Deuterocanonicals. These books were not considered by the Hebrews as part of their Hebrew scriptures. Well, first of all, they were not written in Hebrew, they were written in Greek. So later on, Catholics started using the Latin Vulgate, which had these books, the Apocrypha or the Deuterocanonicals, but which the Protestants rejected. Okay, why? Because the Protestants choose to follow the Hebrew scriptures. That's why these books were not included later on in the Protestant editions of the Bible. So yeah, basically that's it. But that's why when we talk about the Protestant Bible, the Protestant Bibles only have 39 books for the Old Testament, while Catholic Bibles have 43. But when it comes to the New Testament, it's exactly the same. They both have 27 books of the New Testament. The Catholic New Testament and the Protestant New Testament are exactly the same, both made up of 27 books. It is the difference only lies in the number of books in the Old Testament, but when it comes to the text, it's basically the same. The only difference in some areas are some minor differences in translation and word choices, but basically, the New Testament and the 39 books of the Old Testament are the same. So, yeah. So, now, should Catholics read Protestant Bibles? Yes, why not? Should Protestants read Catholic Bibles? Yes, why not? However, we have to remember that since the Protestants followed the Hebrew canon of the Old Testament, of the Hebrew scriptures, then Protestants do not consider the seven deuterocanonical or apocryphal books as inspired word of God. So basically, that's the difference. That's the short answer. So are they the same? Are they different? The answer is yes and no. All right. And what else? Is there anything? If you have any questions, if you have any additional questions or comments, please type them in the comments below. And I'd like to hear more from you. I'd like to hear your thoughts. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. Bye.